Trump world and everything like that. So a lot of people are paying attention to that, just like they were paying attention, as I was saying earlier, to the sports world, because it is was not much of a game. Even though I know you had to be glad, Rick, because UCLA just dominated that game. Even though I was kind of rooting for Don Staley, they did not stand much of a chance. Lauren Bates with no choke, and they pretty much had control from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. But I know a lot of people are thinking that this next game it's supposed to be a blowout as well, but we'll see if that's the case or not. By the way, they're saying, coming back to news, CIA deception campaign in Iran helped the spy agency uncover the location of one of the things that they were looking for, and all along those lines. So there's definitely some news around that, and two planes destroyed by U.S. during the rescue operation. So a heroin race against time to find a downed U.S. airman in Iran, but it looks like they have found
Right,
some folks and everything like that.
So
Go ahead.
planes don't work very well in desert sand. They can get stuck, they can get gummed up. That's what happened when Jimmy Carter tried to rescue the hostages back in the 70s. All their aircraft became disabled and the operation failed. This time they could bring in enough additional planes to get everybody out, but they had to blow up two planes they couldn't get out of there, so the Iranians couldn't use them. So yeah, last night usually I'm nervous to watch a big game, but I watched the whole second half of that game, the UCLA game, because it was such a blowout that it didn't make me too nervous to watch.
Yeah, it was definitely a blowout. It was not much of a contest and everything like that, but I do have a lot of respect for it.
At one point in the third and fourth quarter, UCLA had double the points of South Carolina.
They did. I saw that they had. And that's just crazy that they had to throw the points, and Don Staley couldn't do anything about that. American woman apparently is missing after her husband reports that she fell overboard during a Bahamas trip. So, we're worried about terrorists, but apparently you might also fall overboard if you're going on a trip and everything like that.
If you're going to go on a cruise or any kind of boat trip, you want to make sure that you really know that your relationship's on a solid footing, because it's very easy to push somebody overboard.
This happens quite often, actually. I remember one time I wanted to go on a cruise, and my husband was still alive. He can't swim, so he didn't really want to go. But he started playing these TV series about murders on cruises, and that did it for me. I was just like, okay.
It's like the Wild West. There's not really any law out at sea.
There's no law out at sea. I don't know that there's any law enforcement. I've only been on one cruise, and I can tell you that on that one cruise, and I was actually going with a young lady that I was dating at the time and everything like that, that it is very harrowing and very kind of like nerve-wracking when you're walking out on the ocean and there's like a breeze blowing and things like that, because it's definitely doesn't always make you feel the safest when you're seeing all the mass of the ocean, because like I said, I, like your husband, don't swim and everything like that. So as I was looking down at that water and thinking to myself, if I fall, I'm in deep trouble because I don't know how to swim and everything like that. So
even if you can swim, the ocean can be a very extreme place to land in.
Plus, the ship is moving away from you at 12 knots. Like
the water is overwhelming you. I mean, it's there's creatures in the ocean that are looking for something to eat. There are just a lot of variations at play. But watching the TV series kind of cured me. But but also right now I wouldn't be caught on a boat going anywhere, because we got Happy Fingers Trump triggering bombs that blow up boats because he just thinks they might have drugs on them. Well, guess what? Big party boats might have drugs on them. So, watch out for that.
They're party boats, and they definitely might have drugs on them, and they might be out there with drugs and alcohol and everything else. By the way, that's one of the stories I was going to get to, both you and Dr. Sharif and Rick. Trump is trying to blow everything up if Iran won't make a deal, and he did do something that I think was kind of not all that cool and everything along those lines, but he tried to bring out Allah when he was coming up with his threats and everything like that, because he was basically saying, all praise Allah and everything like that. So I guess he was trying to appeal to the Muslim nation, but the way he did it was very sarcastic, for lack of a better term, and everything like that. So I just wanted your thoughts around his threat to blow everything up if Iran won't make a deal.
Well, it makes people nervous that he might use tactical nukes. A tactical nuke is just a regular nuke, but a little smaller. So the explosion, only kills 20,000 people instead of 100,000 people. And old Trump was very much against nukes, but new Trump is old. His Easter message was open up the fucking strait, which is a terrible message for Easter, and also makes people think he might be demented, insane. But nobody around him is considering at this point the 25th Amendment, which is the one that lets you remove a president who obviously can't do the duties of president. But yeah, reasonable people are increasingly nervous, including the Pope.
Well, you also have the generals and high officials in our military that
he just fired the general, and the general is not happy, saying that
they fired more than just one general. They fired like 9.
Roughly a dozen.
A lot of intellectual property. I mean, heck, they can use job security and go somewhere else and use it. I mean, we are stupid. The
deal with becoming a general is the Army, the military, is a continuous, if you're in the officer corps, is continuous education. You either, if you're a major, a colonel, you're studying to move up to the next rank. You have 4 years to do it by going to, the military runs various colleges, war colleges. You sign up for a course. And if you don't qualify and pass evaluation to move to the next rank, you're done. You're out. So the generals have gone through 20 to 30 years of training and various postings to develop leadership skills. And yeah, Hegseth is getting rid of this officer expertise. Hegseth never made it past major, didn't go to any of the colleges that the generals went to give himself the necessary knowledge, war planning, all that. He doesn't have any of that shit. He was in and out of the military for 10 years. He was bouncing back and forth between no intention of becoming a military leader. He was, National Guard sometimes civilian. He was not on any kind of leadership or education track, and he's getting rid of all these people who demonstrated their skill and knowledge. To move from only 3% of officers make it from colonel to 1-star general, it's that tough to advance. And frickin' Hegseth is getting rid of them, especially if they're black or female.
Well, as of today, he has fired over 20 top generals since last year.
And that's 500 years of military experience as an officer.
That's more than that. Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of experience that he's got rid of and everything like that. Just really quickly, because the other thing that I was going to get to, and I'm just curious people's thoughts around this, is he also has gotten rid of hold on a second, I'm getting an echo. So let me switch off.
Well, hold on, let's go to Sasha for a second. So there was another guy who fired or murdered all of his competent military leadership, and that guy was Joseph Stalin.
Oh, and Stalin, yes.
Purged
right before the Second World War, yes. Germany and Russia.
But Stalin got rid of all his competent officers because he was paranoid. And so when it came time to fight World War II, it took them a while to get their bearings, right?
That's all true. The exception of one thing. So Trump and Hackett.
You got to get closer to the mic.
Okay, Trump and Hackett and people behind them believe that U.S. military is so strong, it's so advanced that even if you fire 500 generals and 5,000 generals, the army will be still the same strong and will be even more loyal to Trump and Hackett and so on. It could be true, it could be not true, it doesn't matter. What matters today is, has United States started the war on the pretense of changing regime in Iran? What's changing regime is so important because immediately it eliminates a threat of nuclear bomb and missiles development and so on. It solves so many problems. So instead of focusing on this uranium enriched product or something else, you solve everything by displacing the regime, changing regime. Okay, to change regime, you know, and I know that from the air only, you will never able to do that. You need ground troops, and not limited ground troops invasion, but total invasion, same as 1945 Germany and so on. The first question that I would like to get the answer: has U.S. military demonstrated ability to do exactly that? Can you is able U.S. military to invade Iran and subdue their armed forces or eliminate them altogether and their generals and so on, and then not change regime, but just put some kind of friendly government and so on? Does U.S. have capacity to do it? Military capacity, first of all. What do you think?
So Iran has been invaded before. 1980, Iraq invaded them with 200,000 troops,
That's not my
2,800
question.
tanks.
Sorry, Rick, it's not my question. My question is, does U.S. today has an ability to invade Iran successfully and have
I don't know,
changed?
because Iran can easily muster 1 million troops to repel any invasion. They have, according to some rankings, they have the 7th or 8th largest military in the world. So can we muster 1 million troops, or at least the technology and 250,000 troops and the political will to
Rick, I
go
think
in
that's
there?
the question, is the political will, because I think that a lot of people would be, and I think Sasha has brought this point up before and everything like that. I don't know that America has the stomach to see. They're already upset over the few deaths that we've had, and I'm not belittling those deaths. They're very they definitely have a impact on our lives and everything like that, but it's nowhere near what Ukraine or Russia or any of the other war
So that's
countries have
true. We've
suffered.
lost, so far, we've lost 13 troops have been killed.
Right.
And that same number has died under Biden. Biden was never forgiven for this. That was one reason he wasn't reelected. So if we start losing tons of people, I looked it up. Iraq's military collapsed after 26 days of a ground war back in 2003. The military walked away. They gave up. But the invasion consisted of 170,000 to 300,000 coalition troops invading Iraq. It was a total of 470,000 U.S. personnel supporting this. So it would take something like that.
It would take something like that, but the other question I've got to ask.
I want to add something, that the Iranians did nothing to start this war with America. They possessed no imminent danger whatsoever. There was no threat. I don't even think there were nuclear weapons. And if they were, I don't think they had intentions to use them. Just like Ukraine, you just keep a couple on hand in case you need them and in case some idiot like Trump comes around. But
Trump or
like they keep saying, if you send your troops in, the desert will swallow them. The desert will swallow them.
Iraq is
You
much
cannot
bigger-
win.
Iraq is much bigger than Iran. In 2003, when they brought down Iraq's regime, which didn't work out so well because after the regime was brought down, 1 million people died in civil war over the next 10 years. So but Iraq, to get to Tehran, they would have to cross 300 miles from the nearest border, and it would take at least 200,000 troops. They can take Karg Island with, I don't know, 10,000 troops, but it would take hundreds of thousands of troops. And when we brought down Iraq, it was part of a coalition. It wasn't just the U.S. Here, nobody's supporting the U.S. So
nobody's supporting the U.S. and everything like that. But I got another quick question for you. That's where I was going I was trying to make the transfer from one device to the other and everything like that. Is it just me? And I'm curious to hear other people's thoughts around this as well, including Jitobi. But does Trump have somewhat of a messiah complex and everything like that? Because I did hear his Easter message, and his spiritual advisor was trying to make comparisons to Jesus Christ. And I do know that he had that assassination attempt and everything like that. So has he developed somewhat of a messiah complex where he thinks that he's the second coming or like the messiah or something along those lines? So what is our thoughts around this? Has he developed some sort of crazy messiah complex? Because his spiritual advisor was trying to make a comparison between him and Jesus Christ.
Mark, is this your first time seeing Trump? I mean, we've known this for years. Is this your first time seeing him? I mean,
no, but
It's been a good Easter. It's been a really good Easter.
It's been a good Easter. I didn't get any painted eggs this time around, but
He woke up.
yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, you're asking the question as if you didn't already know.
Yeah.
I think he's asking to trigger our minds to ask ourselves that.
Yes, that's
All right,
what I was.
know,
all right. Before we move on from taking down the regime, it took 170 to 200,000 troops to take down the Iraqi regime. Iran is 4 times the size of Iraq. So it would like I said, it would take 400,000 troops.
Hey, but I get veering slightly off of that, but still stand on international politics and everything like that. Sasha, I did hear some good news that you'll probably be talking about tomorrow and everything like that on the Ukraine, Russia, China, and maybe we'll add Iran to the title as well and everything show and everything like that. But apparently for the first time, March data suggested, which would have been last month, Ukraine outshot Russia in cross-border drone wars. So they're saying that Ukraine actually outshot Russia in those cross-border, even though Russian attacks did kill 4 as Ukraine drones targeted oil infrastructure. So we seeing a sudden shift in the victory lane toward Ukraine that's been, because I know Ukraine apparently has been winning for a while, but do you see a more definitive victory in Ukraine's way?
The same trend that is going on for the last several weeks, and that trend will continue, and even more so, with the Ukrainians are getting upper hand in the drone war and supremacy on the battlefield. So this is undeniable. But I'm coming back to Iran question.
Hi there.
So you are not sure, because nobody answered, whether the U.S. has the necessary power to overcome Iran forces and apparently win the war decisively and install a friendly government in Iran. Nobody answered that question. I will try to answer it myself because nobody else can. Okay. The Donald Trump doctrine in Iran is exactly that, to install friendly government or even control that government. Then it will control Iranian oil sell it to whoever Trump will decide, whatever price he'll decide. So therefore, if he will have, of course, U.S. oil is available always, and Venezuelan oil is, and now Iranian oil is, China will be in jeopardy because it will get neither Venezuelan oil nor Iranian oil. So Trump will be in control of oil around the globe. So this will not only make Trump the richest person in the world by far, it will make him the most powerful and successful politician, leader, whatever, of all times, of all nations. Now, to achieve that, U.S. has to overpower completely and obliterate Iranian resistance, Iranian army, and all that. That will require a sacrifice of 200,000 plus U.S. soldiers, Marines, and others. The question now is aspirations of Trump to control the oil around the globe worth 200,000 dead Americans? That's the question, nothing else.
Sasha, I already answered that question. America doesn't want that. America won't have that. So I think that America would actually not have that go in that favor. I think that if there's that many lives lost, America will push back and they will take Trump out of office.
There are some instructive numbers. Iran, more than twice the size of Ukraine. Ukraine's army, right now, 900,000 people. Russia has lost more than 1.2 million troops fighting this army. That army is roughly the same size of Iran's army. So we can look forward to, as Sasha's saying, many casualties, more than tens of thousands, likely in the hundreds of thousands.
And I hate to say it though, Mark, Sasha's also onto something with even though America doesn't want the casualties, America didn't want the war.
Right.
We're in it.
Right.
So it's not, and we still got Trump in office, and you have his protectors that are going to be there. He's already created an oligarchy. He's already created a safe haven with the GOP protecting him. He's already trying to take count of the voter rolls. So, I mean, it's already a takeover of the U.S. So it might not be so simple as, hey, America's just going to get him out, or the 25th Amendment may happen, or an impeachment may happen. We're stuck in this for the long haul because this man has taken over, fired, and gotten rid of. So we got a problem.
No, there's no doubt. There's a problem.
It's not about the law. It's about loyalty to Trump. But one of the things that kind of concerned me was when his faith leader, Paula White-Cain, pulled what I call is their grooming techniques that they use, because this is something that they did in the Epstein files. If you read those, the unredacted version was how they groomed the girls to be comfortable with having sex with them and comfortable with being in their organization. And that grooming begins by a conditioning called normalizing the situation. And so Paula held a little conference and made everybody feel like, Trump suffered as much as Jesus Christ did, and made him look like the victim. But then she pulled the conditioning part, the grooming part. She said, I want everyone to raise your hands towards Trump, only if you feel comfortable doing this. Now, what they do then is they have two people in the group or three that they're with, and they will go ahead and do it, making everyone else in there feel uncomfortable not doing it. And again, this is how they groomed the girls in Epstein, because they would keep the older girls to lure the younger girls so that they would feel comfortable. Hey, this is an older girl. She's, where I want to be one day in my life. And so those girls would help groom the 13-year-olds and 11-year-olds. So this conditioning occurred at the prayer Easter meeting or whatever it was they were having. So all of a sudden you see everyone in the room raising their hands towards Trump. She didn't say raise your hands towards the heaven of God. She didn't say raise your hands and praise God. She said raise your hands towards Trump.
They're trying to make Trump, but they're trying to make Trump out to be a messiah. That's what I just said.
But the thing is this kind of conditioning, now she has a whole room full of leaders that are comfortable raising their hands toward Trump. So when they go other places, they're going to get crowds of people. So here's your problem. All of those MAGA worshipers are going to do nothing more than continue to victimize Trump as they did, and in that room saying he suffered and sacrificed more than Jesus. That's what she said. So tell me where this is going.
Let's go back to approval for the war. Approval for the war among Americans, according to more than dozens of polls, is 39%. 54% disapprove of the war. If we start putting boots on the ground there, the support will get even smaller. If troops start getting killed in large numbers, support will drop even further. Now, what you're talking about, so people think that Trump might be crazy. If this were Biden doing this, they would have already held a vote for the 25th Amendment. The cabinet can hold a vote. If 2/3 of the cabinet think that the president's no longer competent, they can remove him. If 2/3 of the Congress, but the difference is that Trump, as Kim, you've been talking about, he has a captive cabinet. It's a bunch of knuckleheads who not great at their jobs, but great for Trump in that they support him wholeheartedly. So yeah, you got a bunch of people putting up with this Messiah bullshit in cabinet meetings. And so, yeah, that's a problem for America.
It's a big problem for America. And it doesn't help that he's also trying to talk about, and you kind of alluded to it, Rick, getting out of alliances that were there for decades and everything like that, because he's got this whole paper tiger notion about how he wants to withdraw the U.S. from NATO, even though the law says he can't do that without Congress's approval. So he's talking about doing it unilaterally, just kind of like he did the war unilaterally.
Okay. Today, Trump is a president. He has control of House, Senate, it's within his powers to send U.S. Army for a full ground invasion, risking losing 200,000 plus people in order to achieve his goals. With his enormous ego, I think that's what he's going to do. He's not going to swallow all the Iranians' assertions that they're not negotiating with him and that nothing will happen and they will not release the Strait of Hormuz and so on. He will not be able to swallow that for days, weeks, months. No, it's not going to happen. So there are two options. Either he will send at least 300,000 strong army and probably much more, or he will have to go to nuclear option, same as Truman did with Japan in order to save American lives. He bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and shortly thereafter Japan surrendered. So he will have to do same in Iran, and the only alternative is send a full force army, take the risk of 200,000 dead. Now, Iran will definitely defend until the last soldier. And no public opinion has any matter on Trump. He knows he's losing this election anyway. So he doesn't care anymore. However, if he will be able to fully subdue and defeat Iran and get his the new kingdom of oil by Trump actually implement, then people will say, "Oh, Trump is the greatest. He's like equal to 10 Jesuses, and he's unparalleled. He's incredible, and so on." Okay, that's my opinion.
I think Sasha's onto something with that, because if you look at what he did with the Board of Peace, Mark, you might want to put Sasha on mute because he's on his other line. But he's with the Board of Peace. That's what he did, was basically he took a bunch of people so they could invest into him, and he'd make money. On top of that, but I think it's not, Rick. I don't think that they're putting up with it. I think it is part of it. Hence the reason why many have said that this was the precursor to The Handmaid's Tale, because the Christian right has been making inroads within the Republican Party deeper and deeper. If you look at what went on with Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation, if you look at some of the policies that they're putting forth, they're making this crusade into these places. It is a religious war. It is a religious thing. Trump is the Messiah. You make him the Messiah. Why? Because then his religious army will do anything for him. That's what Pete Hegseth brought in this crazy religious speaker. This is what the plan is. It's not that they're not putting up with it. This is part of it. This is who they are. This is what they were doing. This is why you had the purity tests with the Christian right for the particular individuals. So again, they're taking voter rolls to make sure that these individuals are the only individuals around loyalty are the ones that are going to get in. We are here for a reason, and we're going to continue down this path until it changes. And yes, we have to fight to make it change in terms of, voting and all this other stuff. But we got a battle. It's a big battle on our hands.
In this big scheme of everything that we're talking about, what do you think detaining all of the hardworking immigrants and some Americans, what do you think that purpose served their agenda? Hi, Nick.
Hola. I'm sorry I'm late to the party. I guess you guys are all talking about the big victory that Donald has by rescuing the second American who was captive over there. Or maybe you're talking about the 178,000 jobs he created in March. So I'm sure you guys have.
No, you got that wrong. It was 178. There is no thousand.
178,000 jobs.
You're trying to rile us up here.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Are we talking about how great of a job we did by getting that person out of Iran?
Just to answer Kim's question, because you came in with a whole bunch of bogus stuff, but just to answer Kim's question,
that was on the news.
Just to answer Kim's question, it's part of the plan. It is the whole white Christian nationalist plan. And if it's not just Christian nationalists, which the whole terminology is, it's white Christian nationalists. So the people that they're rounding up and shipping out, what do they mostly all have in common? They all have melanin in their skin. What are they trying to overturn? The civil rights laws. What are they trying? Who are they trying to criminalize? A lot of individuals who have melanin in their skin. Who are they? The people that were affected by not only DEI and the affirmative action the most. That was one of the things that they fought hard to get rid of. What was that? Who did that affect the most? White women. In terms of if you look at the voting, the way they wrote this new voting thing, the Save America Act, who is it going to affect a lot of? Minorities and women. So that right there tells you Who are they going after? They're slashing funding to HBCUs. And that's what Trump has pulled in this next bill. He's wanting to slash a ton of funding for HBCUs. So their priorities are what their priorities are. And you can see where the path they want to go down is. And people warned them that this was the path that they were going to go down, but they didn't listen. But a lot of people are starting to see this. Some people are starting to be upset about it, which is why Trump is tanking a lot in the polls. But right now he has power. And until he gets out of power or until that power shifts, we still got a problem.
We got 7 months. We got about 200 days until the midterms. If we can, if the elections don't get screwed by Trump sending in ICE or doing whatever crazy crap he wants to do, we have a chance it's a near certainty that if we have normal elections, that the Democrats will take over the House of Representatives, which will lead to some stuff. It won't, castrate Trump entirely, but
well, the tough part though is that it's not just election day that we have to worry about.
It's like counting the votes, getting the votes counted.
Not that. Even if they win the election in November, you have the lame duck session. That's the scary part, because after he finds out he loses the election, how much is he going to cram through using executive orders and then getting them pushed back on by the courts, and then going to the lame duck session, which they will force through. They're going to drop the filibuster. They're going to push a whole bunch of crap through during the lame duck session, get it all signed and put into law. And then, regardless, having the Democrats run both House and Senate, it's going to be hard to reverse any of the laws, because the laws have to be signed by the president. So regardless of November, lame duck session is a scary part.
Yeah, that's the scary part. But I did have a quick question to everybody, and I saw
This is NPR saying 178,000 jobs were added. And,
and for the past 6 months.
You guys all summarily dismissed it.
Yeah, because for the past 6 to 8 months, the initial job numbers have been revised down by tens of thousands. There's no way that 178 number isn't bullshit and won't be revised down.
I see.
Even still. Hold on, Nick. Real quick,
when you hear information that you disagree with, it's got to be.
Let me acknowledge your 178,000. Hold on. Let me acknowledge your 178,000. Let me acknowledge that. Let's say that. Hold on, Nick. Let me finish my point. Yeah. Let's say that even sticks. You know what? Trump has created no net jobs over his term, even with that 178.
Yes,
so I would like to intervene here. Let's take a look at all those people he fired and laid off last year to
they're government employees.
Those jobs have not been filled. So I would say that you're at a negative at this point. If you took how many jobs were lost and add them to how many jobs have not been found, Nick. I mean, I think that number is grossly inflated.
Of course.
I think
all right, let's take 178. That's 178,000 would have been a normal average number under Biden, who added 16 million jobs in his 48 months as president. That's an average of more than 300,000 jobs a month. And a lot of jobs came back after COVID, but still, this would be a slightly less than normal month for Biden. But Trump, except for this month, if this job number sticks, has created 0 jobs.
I know. You can go back to and say inflation under Biden was 20%.
Nick,
so what?
Stop.
I'm just telling you what happened today. And
so
what happened today?
Again, we have acknowledged your 178. Nick, you're not listening. You're not listening. You're the one not listening. Nick, you're not listening. We have acknowledged.
No, I am listening. See, that's the problem.
Then listen to what then repeat what I'm saying. we have acknowledged your 178,000 jobs number today.
My watch is
But
going.
even with your 178,000 job number, Trump over his term, this from 2025 to now, has created no net jobs.
So what? What's your point?
Then
I'm,
what's
I'm,
your
just,
point?
I'm telling you what's going on right now.
What's your
I'm not-
point with
I'm not
that? We have no net
Okay,
jobs.
we're looking at Amazon doing
Yeah,
a total
you're
of
looking at
30,000 job cuts. 30,000.
Yeah.
You know, we're
So
going
what?
negative with the jobs and employment. We're going negative with the employment. If you look at how many jobs were
4.3%
lost
is not
when he
negative.
took office and all the hundreds of thousands of people they
Right.
wrongfully laid off, and now you're looking at Amazon laying off
Wrongfully
30,000.
laid
And when I drive down the streets now, and when I go drive to the beach, nobody's on vacation. I was at the freaking hotel by myself. I was the only car parked in the hotel.
Well, Trump.
That's
That's
a dual
crazy.
Wait,
evidence.
Trump lost 4 million
That's
jobs in his
freaky.
first term. He hasn't created any jobs in this term. He's the worst jobs president since Herbert Hoover from
He doesn't care about
1929 through 1933.
What-
Every
Rick,
other
Rick, what is
president
the
had
unemployment
jobs
rate?
created.
He
Nick,
doesn't
also
care
just
about
unemployment rate
employees and
today.
people because
Nick-
he files bankruptcy, so
Yeah.
he doesn't have to pay them.
And
That's
Also,
his
the
form
unemployment
of
rate today.
business
speaking of
Counselor,
bankruptcies,
101. Don't
Speaking
pay
of
your
bankruptcies,
employees.
Nick, are you going
Debbie
to
Downer,
acknowledge?
do you have anything else
Nick,
to say?
are you going to acknowledge, because we've acknowledged your figure,
Is he?
are you going to acknowledge that Trump has created no net positive jobs, as well as he has the highest number of bankruptcies and closures of any president?
Oh, okay. I will acknowledge that when you acknowledge that he has more successful companies and larger net worth
No.
than any other president.
No,
No,
he
most
doesn't.
of his
Are you gonna
companies
acknowledge that?
failed. And
No,
it-
he doesn't. He doesn't.
Wait. I see this as a one-way street.
No.
So-
You want me
let's
to
make
acknowledge
it a
something that
two-way
is not
street.
true. That's the
Acknowledge
problem
that he
here.
has the largest net worth of any other president.
Yeah, because he,
Well, let's
he
talk
But
did
about
that
create-
isn't
how
a
many
good
more
thing.
jobs
You're not
will
gonna
be
know.
lost
No,
when
wait.
Amazon.
Let me push back on this real quick.
You know,
Nick.
this is a
You want
highway
me
that
to-
goes one way. Okay.
You want me to
You have a-
acknowledge that he has the highest net worth? No, hold on. Nick, I will acknowledge he has the highest net worth, but that
Okay,
doesn't
good.
that is losing context. That's like saying, hey, would you like for me to acknowledge that you're on the internet? That means nothing.
Well, okay, Trump.
Oh,
Let's
you
do
can interpret it
numbers.
how you
Let's
want.
do, Trump has added $4.2 billion to his and his family's net worth since he was elected in 2024 through corrupt deals, including a ton of crypto deals. Now, conservatives didn't like it when Biden was accused of taking a couple $1 million worth of kickbacks. Trump has taken $4.2 billion.
Can you bring some evidence forward in this area, Rick, rather than
Look up the
speeches and
articles in
allegations?
Fortune.
Our articles aren't evidence, counselor. I need hardcore
Then what do you
evidence,
want? That
otherwise
nothing will be evidence
This case is
to you.
summarily dismissed.
People
It's
don't
just-
find.
I read
look at the
something
plane.
on,
Look at
The
the
Guardian the other
$400
day.
million plane that Qatar
So
gave
what?
him. Can you not see the fucking plane? There's a whole plane.
Wait a minute. A plane that they said they
Again,
want
this
to
is
take back.
again,
A plane they said they want to take back.
We know.
Hold on,
that
Nick,
plane
help us out. Help us
under
out.
the U.S. government's name.
Can you help
So
us out?
You're reading
Nick.
too much stuff into
Nick,
things.
you're
Just
you're
basically
asking
not-
for
No,
information.
I'm just asking for a
No,
little.
hold on. But what we are asking for is what would be considered information that you would be able to accept.
Buddha.
Because obviously, regardless of what we
Not at
tell
all.
you, you keep saying, show us the information. Oh, that's not true. We show you the information and you still don't believe it. So what
No,
is it
because
that
you're
we
not showing
tell
anything.
you that will
It's a
help
total-
you understand?
Jatovi, okay, if you ever go to court, okay, I could present what I call a quietom action in court and win lots of money if you guys could ever show me one scintilla of evidence.
We
that supports
have.
your
That's the
specious
problem.
allegations.
And when
But you
you're
can't.
bringing up court and you're saying that we don't bring
So because
evidence,
you can't,
when we've
you have
actually
what
shown
which
you
is
data,
waste of time.
we've shown you charts, we've given you source material, we've
No,
given
you gave me
everything.
nothing. You gave
And
me
all you
specious
came
allegations.
with is, hey,
Specious allegations don't get you anywhere.
can you say he has the
Brother.
highest net worth? Oh yeah, I win now. That doesn't mean
Yeah.
anything. You would lose in court.
It doesn't. It
You
doesn't. That's
would
the
lose
reason
in
we're not in court.
So I just read the report. There were over 355,000 job losses, not including the 30 generals that Pete Hegseth just fired. But if we add the 355,000 job losses on top of the 30,000 Amazon's going to be fired. But what is the impact of the economy when something happens like this? The ripple effect is for every job that is lost, you will lose 10 more jobs in that local community because those people cannot afford to spend money. Okay, there's a cycle of currency circulation that occurs that we're going to lose. Yes, Sasha. I can't hear you. Somebody?
We can't hear you, Sasha.
Hold on. I got it. All right.
Okay. In a future world of Donald Trump with complete oil domination business, he doesn't need people to work. He doesn't care if they will work or not, if they will die from the hunger or not. He doesn't care. He needs a world domination, being a world's richest man. That's his goal, not provide jobs for Americans. It's not his goal. It's counterproductive. He doesn't need Americans to have jobs. He doesn't care about Americans to have jobs. So all this discussion is pointless. It's when and how he will send 300,000 strong U.S. army to completely win war against Iran. That's what's a matter. That's what matters. And the only one power in the world can stop him. It's the U.S. army. It's U.S. generals. Those who were fired, those who were not fired yet. That's the only one hope for Americans.
I would agree with you. We do need the help. But I think the J6ers need to come back and clean up their mess. They J6 Biden for what? For sleeping on the job? But they're letting a man totally lie to them and con them. And they're not going to J6 him? I mean, come on, J6ers, where are you? This man is making a fool out of you.
Well,
there ain't going to be a woman worth marrying that's going to marry a J6er because you guys promoted a pedophile liar who has ran our economy into the ground. So come on, people. Where's the J6 now? I'm just saying.
Well, apparently some of the J6ers... But just in that same note, and we're winding down and everything like that, is there are some people that are talking about that if he does this attack that he is saying he's going to do tomorrow, because he's saying he's going to bomb Iran to oblivion and everything like that, that would be the reason for an Article 25. And there are congressmen like the congressman from Connecticut that are talking about bringing this up and everything like that. And it didn't help that he apparently went to a hospital visit to Walter Reed. So I know we're kind of dismissing this notion, but there's a possibility that he could get Article 25.
I think that we are wrong by waiting until it happens. I think if we do not step in and prevent it, and then do the article after he's committed these acts, then we are wrong. Just like he went and blew up boats saying, I think they had drugs on him. I think they were drug trafficking, when they're hundreds of thousands of miles away from our shores. I think people are idiots to continue supporting him, but they're too ashamed to admit it. So, I think that we're in trouble if he does that. America has lost all integrity.
I mean, it still falls to the people right now because the tough thing is, regardless of the 25th Amendment, Trump is insulated. He's protected. He's got the GOP all around him. And he's put in people, that's all about loyalty to Trump. They don't, it's if you don't land on that loyalty line, you're not going to be there. And if you don't if you're not a male, because if you look at what happened to Pam Bondi was completely loyal to him. But even though she couldn't get the things passed that he wanted passed, he was completely loyal. She was completely loyal. But she got fired because she couldn't get those things done. But you have others other males that he's hired that are completely loyal the same way that have also failed. He hadn't fired. So again, it's a loyalty thing with Trump. That's why they have the loyalty thing in the military now with Hegseth. It's just we are in a quagmire where we really have to stand up, and it's mainly up to the people to keep pushing the politicians. The only way the GOP or politicians are going to move is if people in their district stand up. And that's it. I mean, that's all we got.
Yeah.
Rick?
The districts have to stand up. There's no doubt about that. I know we're going out. But the other thing is that loyalty test is not a new thing either, because if you've been to any kind of those Christian right type churches or even some of the prosperity churches, there's a lot of that loyalty stuff that I've seen even in some of the churches that I've attended as well. So that whole loyalty thing has been out there for a while. So he's gotten this from the not past administrations, but past organizations as well. So he's borrowing an old playbook, and even an old playbook from us.
All right, I have one more statistic. If you multiply the percent of people who support Trump, which is just under 40%, by the percent who are strong supporters, you get 22% of Americans. If you multiply the number of people, the percent of people who disapprove of Trump, which is just under 57%, by the percent of people who strongly disapprove, you get 46%. So for every strong Trump supporter, there are 2 people who strongly disapprove. We're not overwhelmed yet. Yeah, Trump owns a lot of the levers of government, but we can still vote, we can still turn out, we can still, say what is common sense, that the guy is a danger to the nation.
Yep, that's very much true, but we're going to get on out of here, and we learn about Economic Monday. I know that David and his crew, including Nick, I think that's why Nick and Kim bounce out, are heading over there. So hopefully I'll see y'all over there as well, but we're going to get on out of here and see what David's got to say about the economy, because that's what Nick was bringing up as well. So I'll catch you over there hopefully shortly, Jacoby.
Hopefully if